Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to our live briefing for Monday, April 27th. I hope you all had a relatively nice weekend. I have a brief update for you. Then you'll hear from Will Blackwell, followed by Kendra Spencer from our recreation team in healthcare. Then Taryn Young has our wellness segment. And we'll finish up today with Lynn McClintock offering our pastoral care segment. First off, an update on the COVID-19 situation, both at the national level and here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Nationally, the most recent data we have is from Saturday, and on Saturday there were over 928,000 cases across the U.S. with more than 52,000 deaths. Here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have now over 80,000 people have been tested. It's a huge increase from Friday. Over 11,000 people were tested since Friday. The number of cases in Virginia sits a little more than 13,500, up 1,940 from Friday. It's interesting that about 15% of those that have been tested have tested positive throughout the state. To date, we've had 2,066 individuals hospitalized in Virginia. There have been about 458 deaths, and we've had 1,843 individuals recover from COVID-19 so far here in Virginia. On Friday, I talked a little bit about the long-term care facility outbreaks around the Commonwealth. As of this morning, there are 113 outbreaks in long-term care facilities in Virginia. I'll remind you, an outbreak is where there is community spread within a nursing home, either between residents or between residents and staff, where there's more than one case. We've had 15 new facilities reported since Friday. Those 113 outbreaks account for over 1,300 individual cases and over 106 deaths, there are 106 deaths. You might, a little more granular detail about that. Of the 113 long-term care facilities that currently have outbreaks, 12 of those facilities are in Henrico, 5 are in Chesterfield, 3 in Hanover, and 2 in Richmond, for a total of 22 facilities with outbreaks here in the Richmond metro area. And that's really concerning. I mean, that's for all the facilities out there, an outbreak is really the thing we all are trying to avoid. So it's really a concerning situation that we have that many outbreaks around the Commonwealth. As a team, incident command team, right now we're focused on a couple of things. The first thing, the thing I'll mention today, I'll try to touch on a couple of them throughout the week, but the thing that I want to focus on today is building our capacity for testing. We need to be able to test really anyone who returns to the facility from the hospital, and we haven't had that capacity. We've been able to do it, but it's taken time, and we want to be able to test quickly so that we know and one, we can get people out of quarantine, but also so we can mitigate that risk of any spread within the campus. So that's really one of the priorities right now, is to work on that. And with Will Blackwell's help, and with our lab partner, LabCorp, we're beginning to make some strides there to begin to build that capacity. I'll bring more of those sorts of things this week to try to add a little more detail to what's happening behind the scenes. For more of what's happening in Parsons Healthcare Center, Will Blackwell is going to share with you some of those specifics today, and he'll share some more throughout this week as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Will, and he can tell you a little bit about what's happening in Parsons.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know everybody's getting antsy because of the number of weeks that we've been quarantined, but I just ask for your continued patience. This is all paying off, and we need you to continue to stay focused and help us not let this virus on our campus. So we've mentioned several things in the past about grocery delivery, those kind of things, Azalea Mall. Those apply for the Parsons Healthcare Center and assisted living, just like independent living. So if you have anyone living in those areas and you'd like to do something for them, please make sure that you follow along with Touchtown and whatever's in the tails. I received a memo from CMS, which is Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, on Friday, and they released a 14-page memo, and I'm going to be sharing some of that information with you this week. And it was frequently asked questions, and they provided some answers. So I'd like to start with the first one. Why are visitors restricted from entering nursing homes, is the question. CMS understands that the nursing home residents, they really enjoy and value regular visits from family and friends. However, CMS, in consultation with the infectious disease experts at the CDC, with the on-ground experience, have concluded that due to the age and health status of most nursing home residents, these individuals are extremely high risk for serious illness, hospitalization, and death if infected. Therefore, it is critical for all nursing homes to restrict visitation and entry of non-essential individuals. On March the 13th, 2020, CMS released a memo informing all nursing homes nationwide on the guidance to restrict visitation of all visitors and non-essential healthcare personnel, except for those with compassionate care situations such as end of life. So again, your patience is really, really appreciated because we cannot allow entry into the healthcare center at this time. We are trying very hard to keep this virus away from our residents. The next question I wanted to share with you is called communal dining. Are residents forced to eat in their rooms? The answer they came back with is residents are not forced to eat in their rooms. Residents may still eat in the dining rooms. However, nursing homes should adhere to social distancing, such as being seated at separate tables or at least 6 feet apart. We note that social distancing should be practiced at all times, not just with dining. We further note that eating in dining rooms with appropriate social distancing only applies to residents without signs and symptoms of respiratory infections and without a confirmed diagnosis of COVID-19. Facilities should refer to the CDC guidelines for managing residents with signs and symptoms of respiratory illness. So, as far as dining is concerned, we have not been dining in our dining rooms. They have been closed, and we're going to set up a committee this week, and we're going to start staggering the timeline for eating in the dining room. It's really a social thing for eating in the dining room, so it's really a good thing for our residents to get out of their room and go to the dining room. So we'll have to look at the number of seating capacity that we have, because there will be one person at each table 6 feet across. So more to come this week. I'll be seeing you again. Next up is Kendra from Recreation.
Good afternoon, everybody. The 3 recreation therapists in Parsons have been very busy helping the residents in Parsons Health Center stay connected to their loved ones. We've been using FaceTime, Skype, and Zoom. Since March 16th, we have been able to make 80 to 100 calls and connections a week. That's 480 to 600 over the last 6 weeks. We have sensed that these calls are the top priority at this point, and we've been very happy to be able to do this with the residents and their loved ones. In addition to these calls, we have played hallway games such as pool noodle, balloon hockey in the hallway, bingo, sing-alongs. We have live-streamed exercise weekly to twice weekly and had our harpist and other usual entertainers live stream in so that our residents are able to still experience their normal recreation programming. Our residents have enjoyed fresh and hot Krispy Kreme donuts, lunch in their hallways, sitting right at their doorway so socialization can be encouraged. There was a fun hallway dance party also. We continue to assess the daily needs of the residents and prioritize what we will do and how we will accomplish them each day. Residents who need stuff in their rooms are provided things such as crosswords, Sudokus, checkers, dominoes. We also have watercolor and painting that we provide as well. On some of the nicer warm weather days that we have had, we have started taking some of the residents onto the porches or to the courtyard near first floor east dining room with appropriate social distancing. Finally, we have helped our residents celebrate their birthdays with festive decorated rooms, balloons, cakes or cupcakes, and staff going over the top singing happy birthday. And one more thing to add, we have started assisting the residents in obtaining absentee ballots. Thank you.
Good afternoon, y'all. I'm Taryn with the Wellness Department. I'd like to start today with a breathing exercise, so I'm going to ask you to do it with me. Get comfortable, seated or standing. If you're standing, open your feet to a comfortable distance, and let's just bring our attention to our breath as it is. I want you just to notice your breath. Now we're going to focus our breath to what is called the 4-count breath. I will count it for you. You're going to inhale for 4 counts and then exhale for 4 counts, preferably both ways through the nose. So let's inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it again. The 4-count breath, and any breath that is focused, helps to calm the nervous system. It helps to calm our mind, lower our blood pressure, and it can be used to both energize your body to prepare for the day or to calm your body and mind. You can energize at the beginning of the day or calm at the end of the day. It helps us with sleep. So whenever you're feeling anxious in any way about anything, think about your breath. Try to get it under control and getting your inhalation and exhalation to be the same length. I happen to prefer the 4-count, but you can do it any way that works best for you, as long as you're slowing it down. This is the final week of the CV19 Cardiovascular Challenge, and today's move is the ever-popular sit to stand. I'm going to demonstrate with variations right here in the chair. I'm just going to move this and hope that it will pick me up. Again, I'm going to ask you to sit forward in your chairs, feet flat on the floor, and you should be able to see your toes. Now that's going to give you a nice, stable, seated position. I'm going to ask you to pull your feet back a little bit, and you can do one or both of them. Engage the abdominals, and prepare to stand. Ideally, you will stand up without using your arms, but if you need to use your arms, please feel free to do so. Push off of the chair arms or push off of your own legs. That's another option. If you want to cross your arms, you're welcome to do that. That is the actual senior fitness test version that we do. And if you prefer, you can stay tall and do a mini knee bend, pushing the hips back toward the chair, or you can take it to a full squat, pushing the hips back towards the chair, or with no chair. If your knees bother you at any point during your 19 seconds or 19 repetitions, you can sit all the way back and try the seated leg extension. All of those options are appropriate for the sit to stand exercise. This week's self-care tip is stretch before you get out of bed. In the morning, our bodies are stiff from inactivity. A little bit of gentle stretching will help the body and mind to awaken. I know it's not always possible, but when it is, try these 3 stretches to prepare your body for the day's events. In your bed, pushing your legs toward the bottom of your bed and your arms and hands toward the headboard or the wall, reach away from the middle of the body. This is going to open up in the middle. Take your breath, 4 counts, and just reach and release. Either in that extended position or not, you can move your wrists and your ankles, flexing and pointing and making circles to get them all juiced up. Finally, bend your knees, keeping your feet flat on the bed, and gently allow your knees to go over to one side and then the other, giving yourself a nice gentle twist. You can come back to that stretch one more time, release, and then gently set yourself up to a seated position. That's it for me today. Take a nice deep breath with me, come to center, and go with love. Next is Lynn McClintock.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lynn McClintock, Director of Pastoral Care. Our scripture for today is taken from the Gospel of John, the 14th chapter, the 27th verse. Listen for the word of God. Peace I leave with you. It is my own peace that I give you. I do not give it as the world does. Do not be worried and upset. Do not be afraid. The words, do not be afraid, are found in all wisdom traditions in one way or another, but that is really hard to do during fearsome times. I have a friend who wrote some really wise words, and I'm going to share them with you. She says, what does it mean to not be afraid? And she makes the distinction between having fear and being afraid. She says, for me, it begins with knowing that there's an inner landscape to my life. There are many places on that landscape where I might root myself. Fear is one of them, but far from the only one. So the question becomes, where am I choosing to stand as I receive and respond to life? Yes, I have fear, but I can stand in a place of compassion, or a desire to serve, or gratitude for the gift of life, or hope that sees through the brokenness to the hidden wholeness of things. Can that be done by ordinary mortals? Yes. This day, hundreds of thousands of healthcare professionals are doing it. They have fear, of course, but as they go to work each day to save our lives while risking theirs, they stand on a different piece of inner ground. They're caring, their calling to serve, their commitment. And then she writes, if they can do it on the front lines, surely I can do it from my home. As I do, I raise the odds that I might hear the other voice that the poet Mary Oliver talks about, to be of service to someone somewhere. So I'm going to read the Mary Oliver poem that she references. It's called The Journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice through the whole house. The whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundation, though its melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voice behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life that you could save. I'm closing with a prayer that was written by Lloyd John Ogilvie. Lord, I need your help. I'm feeling the strain of stress. My body is agitated by worry and fear. I confess to you my inability to handle it alone. I surrender my mind to you. Take charge of my thoughts. Think your thoughts through me so that I might respond to my circumstances with peace and patience. I don't want to have a divided mind, fragmented from your control. Forgive my angers routed in petulant self-will. Make me a channel, a riverbed of your love to others suffering as much stress as I. Help me act on the inspiration you give me rather than stifling your guidance. I dedicate my tongue to you so that it will be an instrument of healing. Make me a communicator of love and encouragement as I cheer others on to do their best. Help me to know and to do your will. I commit my schedule to you. Slow me down before I break down. Set me free of the tyranny of acquisitiveness and security in things. I thank you in advance for giving me strength to conquer stress. Amen. That was from A Quiet Moment with God, and it was shared with me by a resident. Two quick announcements on behalf of Pastoral Care. We thought we were starting evening prayer this week. We had technical difficulties. So evening prayer will start next Monday, May 4th at 6:30 p.m. So we hope you'll join us. And our daily prayer booklets for May are in the press right now, and they'll be available this week. In the daily prayer booklets, you'll find prayers for every day of the week. And this month, we're really excited that some of our resident clergy have written the Today's Prayer section of each prayer. So you'll want to get a booklet. You can call Vanessa Perry at 1502 or David Curtis at 5179. Also included in the prayer booklet are the bulletins for every Thursday chapel service. And we really encourage you to follow along with the bulletin because we'll have the words to the hymns and some of the responsive readings will be also in the daily prayer booklet as one piece. The bulletins will also be available, just the bulletins will be available at both desks, the tower desk and the center desk, and will also be available on Touchtown. The daily booklet will be available on Touchtown as well. So we're sorry about evening prayer this week. We look forward to be able to do that next week. We hope you'll pick up a daily prayer booklet and join us in worship. Thank you all so much and have a great afternoon.